level. The President pledged 50 billion per sub-region, which is 150 billion for Acholi, Lango, and Teso. So we are here to make sure that the government money is received by the rightful people. It is not messed up, it is not eaten by ghosts, and it is not distributed in a way for which we cannot account. So we have used that multi-layered approach to make sure the rightful people receive this money, and the compensation exercise is failed and happily done.
When does that start? When does it begin?
The data card exercise was brought last week. We had hoped in 10 days we would have collected all the relevant data. But from what I see on the ground, we need more time. So we believe probably by mid-October or late October, we should be starting. Because we shall have collected all the data from the 3 sub-regions, compiled it, and then known how to disseminate the money to the right.
I think by the end of the year, they will have started to receive the money.
We believe by the end of the year, the payments will have started. Yes.
Don't you think the discussion people had would cause more delay?
Actually, the discussion we've just had, this engagement was very fruitful. It helped us, highlight issues on the ground, queries here and there, so that we see how best to tighten the loose nuts and
I'm a lawyer and advocate. I come from Mutuke district. For those who might see my name or a name like Kibwanga on the list and think that it has been misplaced. Of course, I don't qualify to be compensated, but my grandfather might. I'm very happy to be here. We were made to understand that this meeting was being held today to try to bring the stakeholders to speak as to the developments concerning how far we are going with compensation. From our side as members of Lango Claimants, which technically is styled as the region and others versus Attorney General, we are at par with the development, and we are happy with the developments from the government side. As you know, this has been a long war for 11 years. So far, so good. I only want to thank the representatives who are present here. I have Mr. Fela Joha.
One way of thanking the Deputy Attorney General, the Honorable Members of Parliament present, Chairman FC5, the RDCs in various districts in the region, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Major Wich, retired. I'm a lawyer with Macmot Kibwanga. Why he has called me is because in the pursuit at this level, I'm the focal point, meaning that I'm more in touch with the Attorney General than any other person in the law firm. Now, technically, as it puts it, we are to be sure that our clients are safe technically. To this effect, we met the Attorney General and we agreed that since there is the goodwill from government to expedite this exercise, we go to court and consent on a few things. And therefore, we have signed a consent agreement where both parties have agreed to stay, for want of better words and in quotes and quotes, the fighting in court, the hostilities in court. We have assured our clients that we are not going to fight in court. We are ceasing fire now. We are on ceasefire. Government is carrying out the verification, validation, which is already ongoing and is about to be completed, so that you get paid. So, of course, the contents has many things because we have fought in many ways. Among other things is that we are staying the mandamus proceedings because we had gone ahead to fight for our clients' right by even seeking arrest of officers who are supposed to pay and have not paid. So we said now put that aside. We have gone ahead. We have also said now, whatever decree that we had been given by court, please stay it. We have also said implementing any other order that court has granted, please stay it because the goodwill is there. So, and we have really have no suspicion whatsoever. We clearly agree that the process the other party is taking is very, very good. They are acting in good faith. Now, what we want to assure the clients, which Attorney General has said, is that
for actually 50 billion, Lango 50 billion, Tesho 50 billion. Currently, one group at for Bashasha, one group, for under Bashasha. That 50 billion is not even enough to pay them. Because the amount granted by court under Bashasha is over a trillion shillings. Over 1 trillion. Now Kigwanga is about 1.4 trillion. Now those are people who went to court. And they are very few. I think they are about 4,000. Some numbers. What is the number? Okay, 146. Okay, 146,000. Now, that is also very few in terms of number. Lango man is over 2.5 million in number. Household population is about 480,000. Call it 500,000 households. Now, this is after discussing all these things with the Attorney General. These were the pointers that we thought we should come and share with you so that we can proceed. Kagamento miuchente, piukwero, ogamo tetamo dokshinwa. Ogamo otemo otetamo shinwa. Now, this is what I want us to do. We have 2 lists already, and the third one from government. We can say the list from the lawyers are now 1. Then the one from the Attorney General. We decided that we should have an oversight committee. That's why we invited you. From every district. We are proposing that let us have this list. We walk it with it to the villages. Those who have not been verified or who are not on the list, we should include them on the list. You, the members, you, the oversight committee members. So that finally, Lango can have a one solid list. We should have one solid list. What then we will do as members of parliament, we will go to the Attorney General, and we have discussed this with him. And we say, Attorney General, our number is not only 146 as we previously proposed, maybe it's 300,000.
It is there because the account is dormant. So we are asking you, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, please reduce the requirements so that really our people get this money easily. If there's even need, if somebody has only 2,000, why don't you give her or him cash? Because these are really people who are totally and absolutely have nothing. They are illiterate, they cannot even be brought here easily. So really, as your ministry, it is good you are in charge and you are not getting tired with the Lango. Please reduce the requirements which is needed for this compensation. Lastly, you told us the cow will cost, one cow will cost 1 million. How about goats and sheep? Because we don't want our people here to go back without knowing. We know the hijackers. They will again play around with us. You know, God will be about 250. But we don't know what you're going to tell us. So that we put it down here. When somebody moves around and said, oh, God is going to be 250. No, we said the other day, Kafuzi Jackson, Honorable, told us 450. We are waiting from you so that we confirm. Lastly, I don't want to waste a lot of time. I come from Tuga, as I told you earlier.
That issue. If a person, if a claimant does not have a PIN number, you do not have to feed it in. Okay? Because the biodata we shall get from the data card should be enough to identify you. if you do not have TIN number. Two, all these issues are arising because we delayed to put in place the oversight committee. If we had it earlier and had engaged it clearly with terms of reference, it would have helped us weed out all the nitty-gritties and the doubting Thomases, and we would be moving well. But we are going to do that going forward. Three, it may be necessary for us to extend the time so that we have a thorough, approach to whatever we are doing, and make sure we minimize all the other problems that may come along the way. You said so many things, but the one thing you seem to agree upon across board that we should pay and see how we set the pace for those who will be paid next. Now, as we agree that we should pay, please help me, you the people of Lango, make sure we pay the right people. Because there is going to be one problem. We can have a resolution, Bishop. Yes. We can have a resolution here saying that we pay. We go ahead and pay the wrong people. Yeah. Then there will be an inquiry, and the whole exercise will stop pending the outcome of the inquiry. You understand? Please help us. Before doing. Yes. Please help us to weed out costs. We make sure that we pay the rightful claimants. Of course, there is a lot of dissatisfaction because people claim much more than has appeared on the list. But you see, you all wanted to know why there are comments like unreasonable or frivolous or what. When the verification exercise was being done, it was spearheaded by the area veterinary officer. You know that there were veterinary officers going with these people. And they were trying to rely on the data, on the census. You know, we used to have censuses for livestock. So if someone in Otuke claimed that he owned 2,000 heads of cattle, they would go back and compare with the census, the previous censuses, and try to calculate. They may not have been fair in drastically cutting the claim, but at least they were guided by the censuses that we had in the past. That's why we have said we will not be rigid. We shall be flexible. Allow us pay what is reflected, put a claim for the balance. Because the verification team is still here. The oversight team is still here. They will tell us whether this chairman is actually lying, if he actually had that cattle. You understand? If it is true that Okotogong had 600 heads of cattle at the time.
That there are people who went to court and their names are missing and their lists are missing. You also acknowledge that there are people who did not go to court and their names are also missing. But he has stated that there is a verification committee under an interministerial verification committee which is going to sit and have a comprehensive look at all these lists, because this is just the first phase of the pilot itself. So the 42,000 is just a start. The other additional lists are going to be compiled, and then the necessary decision and action will be taken out of it. I'll ask Attorney General, is that in line with, he said he has confirmed that. I hope that is clear. The second, yes. So is it okay? Is that fine? That is adopted. The second issue was that there were lists that are having approved and non-approved claimants. And what he has said is that this exercise was done in 2016 and guided by the district veterinary officers and the censors. and it is on that basis that some of these came as non-approved. So what he has said is that you apply for what has been approved and you claim the balance. Is that, he has confirmed that that is what he has stated? Are we all agree with that? No.
I think bringing the element of the committee which is created. There is a reason as to why there is a verification committee. So if they come to 2K and Kafuzi, I claim 100 cows, it is not automatic that what I have claimed is what I should receive. It should be subjected to proof. And that proof, the layers of proof, included the veterinary officer. But if the veterinary office has given us information to show that it is not possible that Kafuzi has this, and it has reduced from 100 to 2 or 3, now we are sending a second layer of verification, the oversight committee, to help us confirm whether Kafuzi's original claim is the actual one, or the valid one is the right one, or there should be something in between. So that's why we are saying we are willing to pay this, but the oversight committee will come up with recommendations. It will have a holistic examination of all these claims, especially those that are disputing what they have been given, what is reflected on the list. Unless if you are saying those who are disputing what appears on the list should not be paid, we leave them out, we pay those who accept, and then we shall consider them in the future once the verification team and the oversight team have agreed. You understand?
Yes.
As long as they are not going to sabotage the whole exercise, because they will say we were verified and our claim was brought down drastically.
So, Attorney General, I think there are two points, because this list is not comprehensive. So, is there a plan that in future, once it is compiled by the two firms, they will be displayed?
Once the lawyers submit to us their list, we shall share them.
Okay. So the list shall be displayed. That is also agreed. Then there is the list of those who are compensated. Who are compensated because there is a concern that there might be duplicate payments. So the thing was to display also that list.
Okay. That will be taken under
Will be taken as?
It will be taken under advisement.
Okay, so they will advise on that. Then there is those who did not go to court. Of course, now there will be a process, and then later on display their list. So the process will proceed.
Yeah.
Once the list is generated, it is going to be displayed.
Yeah.
Fine. So we're in agreement with all those 4 different lists. There's the concern on the issue of letters of administration being very costly, and you're saying that you will try to review for any window for consideration other than the letter of administration. Is that agreed?
You see, the data card will provide it. The data card will provide it. Tries to capture your biodata, you as a claimant, but it also has a section which wants to know if you are claiming as a beneficiary under a person who died. Okay? And that data card has a provision for the LLC side, for the local people to do what? Witness. Meaning that they will help us identify that Fred Ogong is the actual claimant. He's claiming for so and so. You understand? So yes, there is a requirement for letter of administration, but we believe that that data card can give us sufficient information. But we shall have to find a legal way of addressing it and going over it.
So what you advise now is that those who may not have, they feel
yes,
and let all that support information. Okay, that is agreed on. Thank you for that. The next was on, there was an issue of challenges with opening bank accounts And one of what you stated is that for those accounts that were dormant, there will be engagement with the banks to activate them.
As government, we undertake to engage with the banks. We have already started, and they are willing, they have shown us willingness.
Thank you. Then you've also said that there was a question whether can we consider other options like mobile money, and you said that this can be considered if the amounts are small.
Yes.
Okay, that's agreed. Then on terms of rate of compensation, you talked of 1 million shillings per head of cattle lost.
Yes.
However, people said, what about the goats, the pigs, and the sheep?
That I do not have here, but we shall find out and communicate.
Okay, so these are the lists to be provided for the others.
Goats, sheep, and chicken. We shall find out.
Okay. Then there is also the issue of the payment plan and duration and consolidated list. There are a number of issues here that under each district you come up with the total number of claimants, total amount, and that is published. And then you come up with a planned payment period when that will be done. But also there is a concern. They are asking, you have 50 billion. Are you going to pay everyone a small percentage, or you will pick a few and clear them?
Until we see that Lango sub-region people are compensated. So ladies and gentlemen, as Lango Parliamentary Group, we are dedicated to this cause. We inherited it from somewhere, but we shall bring it to a conclusion. So I thank the government of Uganda for what they are doing as far as compensation is concerned. We have started the run. We shall continue running. We are aware that all these issues that have been raised here have been really answered or responded to by the Attorney General. So let us continue linking up. It has been a very peaceful meeting. I want to thank this audience. These are our people from Lango. They are representing more than 3 million people from Lango sub-region. You see the number small, but all of these people are here. So, if it's Attorney General, go with our blessing. As you go back, as you go back, and always be there. Our blessing to you, that you go well, sit down, the money that is available must come immediately. We start with that. The 50 billion, we are taking the highest people, because we have 42,042. Peso, 33,000. And actually 17,000. So consider us, don't reduce on the list. If you are adding, we shall be grateful that you will be adding for the cause of our people. I take this opportunity to thank you once more. There's a team already here that will do verification and validation. This is the oversight team. Please.
To make a presentation in regard to a matter that has been ongoing for a while. All of you are well aware of it. And to assure you of our commitment as government to kickstart the exercise of compensation, carry it forward, and see it through to a logical conclusion. I'm called Kafuzi Jackson Kargaba. I'm a member of Parliament for Chaka South, Chegegwa District. I was last here in early January, specifically on the issue of compensation. I held a meeting in a hotel owned by some Angola, I don't know its name. Lira Hotel. That meeting was well attended, but was also avoided by my colleagues, the politicians, who were deep in campaigns, because it was a very controversial matter they did not want to. I think I saw only one person then was contesting as the Lira, I think, woman MP, and a former colleague from Kore. Ladies and gentlemen, This matter started way back in 2004 when a number of people went to court. Highlighting the loss of their livelihood resulting from the loss of their cattle or livestock and several other matters that were pillars to their economy. When these matters were in court, the President ordered the Attorney General's office to settle these matters on the understanding that government would compensate the livestock that had been lost to try and rejuvenate the local economy of this sub-region. When I talk of the local economy, you know very well that here almost everybody was a cattle keeper. Besides other agricultural activities, the pillar of the local economy was cattle. So one of the basic pledges government made was to restore that local economy by compensating for the loss of cattle for those who are claiming arising from the insurgency, the years of insurgency we have had in the past. And for the insurgency, we are not referring or apportioning blame to any particular era, because we have had successive insurgencies. And each insurgency has cut off a percentage of our local economy. In 2016, actually earlier, 2011, a verification exercise is believed to have started. But courts along the way had ordered that compensation starts with those that had gone to court. But those who had gone to court were not representative of all the people. So since an order had come from the President that we compensate in all the sub-regions, a verification exercise was undertaken. There was one mistake during that verification exercise. In compiling the lists, our team at the Attorney General's chambers should have started by getting the list that was already in court and adding the list that was found in the field that was not in court. You get my point? Yes. The unfortunate bit was that our people went into the field and got information. So we have lists of people who did not go to court, and we have lists of people who went to court.
Okay, you first line the book. You first show it to them. Open and explain what is there on what page.
This is the copy that was exhibited in court, and it's clearly received and marked by court. If you go to court, there is a copy. There are 3 volumes. This is one of the volumes. Unfortunately, I couldn't carry all of them.
Say, what is the first page? What have you written?
On each page, these claimants were categorized in their districts.
Yes.
We have the names of the claimant, father's name, mother's name, sub-county, present address, occupation, number of cows, number of goats, number of sheep, number of pigs, and number of chickens. And the year when they lost the properties.
Is there a photograph?
Now the second book which we made to expedite the process is the one which has a photograph of each claimant. it makes the verification of payments easier. So we call upon the verification should not be who is the claimant or whether you have a claim, because this was approved by court, but who is the exact claimant received money. That's why we put the photograph. But on the book that he provided, we see unreasonable, approved, disapproved. I don't think that should be the case in matters which went to court. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Representative from Bashasha and Company Advocates for the thorough remarks that you made and for letting us know.
This is Lango sub-region, and it is comprised of about 9 districts, inter alia Amolata. But from the list of litigation from attorneys, from the list of government ex gratia awards, I do not see Amolata taken care of in any of these. The Land Attorney General, I double as the Vice Chair, Lango Parliamentary Group. So I'm aware of the geographical demarcation of Lango, and Amolatar is clearly one of the districts in Lango. That is one. Oh, the Land Attorney General was emphatically very clear that the compensation arises from 2 issues, litigation and ex gratia award. But the submission that was given here is inclined to a result of litigation. And this associates me with my land friend, Honorable Duru's submission, that the demands of the persons that did not go to court are untaken care of in this. But also, the Land Attorney General did allude to the fact that there was a regional balance in this compensation. Money was appropriated in percentage of about 50 billion shillings per sub-region. And taking into that, the reasoning was that every sub-region should be equally compensated. Lango has about 9 districts, and 50 billion would suffice that each district probably would receive a 5.5 billion in compensation. So in my reasoning, I would think that in your drawing board, you would want to think that these monies should be appropriated, because we are not going for litigation, compensating Lango wholly as it is. Such monies, if it must come now, each district must receive 5.5 billion, not centralizing it to a group of litigants who are co-opted from somewhere. That is one. I am frustrated by the submissions of my friends from Mahmoud Kiwanga. I agree with you as being my senior attorney. But if you see people from Bashasha who do not share kinship with Lango, a firm like Mahmoud Kiwanga shares kinship with Lango, should have been emphatically clear to reject this list and go by this statement, so that Lango is compensated wholly. If you take something little, we are bargaining for less as Lango. So I would want to think that you were rushing in negotiating for people whom you did not have consent with. Yeah. How do you enter into consent with the government on people who did not litigate, who never gave you instructions? Yeah. So withdraw that consent, have the list verified, and we agree unanimously that the 2 firms aid in the verification of all the Lango lists generally. That is my submission. Thank you very much.
I'm called Julius Peter Ochorodwe, but because the names must be heard quickly, that's why I only tell people that I'm called Julius Odwe. I want to thank everybody present here, in particular the Deputy Attorney General. I also want to thank our members of Parliament for the initiative they have put to follow up this just some months after election. I think you have worked as a team, not as individual. And I think this is what Lango people want. Even if we voted you from Dokulo or from a party, you must work for us and deliver services. Irrespective of whose strengths and weaknesses, you must help yourself. My experience in the police says that there is a SWOT. There's a strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So you use that to make sure that services of this nature are brought to the people of Lango. I was in the service for 30 years, and I decided to leave police at that rank. Not that I was not wanted. Even the ministers tried to stop me from coming back home when I was 56 years. I said, at least I've worked for Uganda. I've not yet worked for our people. If I can go home when I'm still strong, I could sit at the veranda and advise somebody with the experience I've got all over the world when in the police service. And indeed, when I came back home 2011, a lot of people were consulting me. And one item has been the issue of cattle. So I said, how can we work on this? I want to say that recently, being provoked by matters of appointing permanent secretaries, many Lango people got disappointed with the government. And there was a need for responding or asking government to do something. And without anybody advising me, I know many responsible persons who are doing the same thing, probably at a certain level. But for me, I decided to do it publicly so that we can share the burden of responsibility. And I asked the president to look into 3 issues, telling the president that we are now very poor because we have lost cattle. And a number of other things I cannot mention here in that letter. We are poor. People are here on the streets of Lira called corridor children. Why?
It is to ensure that we have a clear data so that the persons are paid. We know how many people are not getting paid. So that we ask government, when are you going to pay these people? Do you have schedule for the payment? Because I know government may not have all of this money to pay for that financial year. This is here. I shall try to make this more than but I know my concern now is Mr. Attorney General. The experience we have in this process, very many people have spent more than they are going to earn now. In terms of opening up an account, in terms of, so you find somebody selling his or her cow, coming to open up an account, and the money is not given. Right now in Kwanya, I'm getting a concern about the data card. They are requesting for when the day, month and year the animal was stolen. People are running, oh, do you know that my animal was stolen in this day? Considering these old people. But worst of all, they're asking for the tax identification number. How can that poor woman in the village get the tax identification number to fill in the form? And that would be an issue tomorrow to bounce back the forms. Yet we are saying, even we have been given a deadline that we are supposed to submit back the data. So I'm requesting you kindly reconsider the date for submitting back the data. It will help us handle the case raised by honorable member for Lira North about the strange people. The next question would be if in Kwanya, majority of the people who are in the list are not people of Kwanya, what do we do? These are some of the crucial questions that we need to find out as leaders, other than talking about some of these, I think that may not help us. So kindly, what are we going to do with this poor woman whose name is in the list, but cannot afford the tax identification number? Because if we are not careful, this money will go to the bank, the money will go to this. The second, these people who are always, they already started running to the community in the pretext of doing for them tax. Tax identification number. That is my contribution. Thank you.